Maikadra Mariam is giving us account of people he and others buried in these mass graves at a church cemetery. They had nothing, he says. They were targeted because they are Amhara. The first massacre of the conflict between Ethiopian federal soldiers backed by Eritrean troops and Amhara special forces and its militias against Tigrayan fighters happened here last November in the northern town of Maikadra near the Sudanese border. Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission says up to 600 people were killed. Residents tell us the number is much higher.
I had to burn my clothes. They were soaked in blood after carrying the injured and dead. We brought bodies here in stretchers. It was shocking. The whole place was smelling of death.
Beranua Sefer's family can hardly look at his picture without crying. They say he was killed right before their eyes on the street outside his home. They blame fleeing Tigrayan forces.
Tsegai, why are you killing me? My husband kept calling as he lay on the ground. It was Tsegai who gave him the final blow.
It was under the administration of the Tigray leadership, but nearly all have now fled, and the town is in the control of Amhara forces and the federal government.
More than 200 young men lived in hostels that stood here. Most were laborers who came from different parts of Amhara region to work on farms mainly owned by Tigrayans. Witnesses tell us they were hacked with machetes, beaten, shot, and their hostels burned to the ground.
This woman's son barely survived an attack. She says he has since lost his hearing.
There was blood on his head. It was also coming out of his ears when I found him. He was soaked in blood.
Tigrayans who fled to refugee camps in Sudan and other internal displaced people's camps further into Tigray tell a different story. They say federal government troops and their allies committed atrocities against them and forced them out. But they all agree on one thing. Hundreds of Ethiopians died in Maikadra, and many people like Maikadra Mariam, who witnessed the killings and buried the dead, remain deeply traumatized. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Maikadra, Ethiopia.